Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. It is August 23rd, 2022. We're very glad you're with us today. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just enter your questions into the chat window. For those on Facebook, please just enter your questions into the comment field. We're monitoring both feeds. We'll be sure to get your questions answered for you. Also, if you'd like to put your contact information in the Zoom chat window, this is LinkedIn Tuesdays. The object is to connect with other people, and this would be a great opportunity to connect with other people who are on the call today. So you're welcome to put your contact information in the Zoom chat window so you can connect with everybody else who's here today. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, almost 10 years ago, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search that you may not know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I have copies with me usually all the time. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007, and we have a great program coming up this Friday, and I'll tell you about it at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIC crew. Your resume and your LinkedIn profile will not get you a job, but what it will do is it will get you a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills is what will get you your next phone call. So, if you'd like to get more information, reach out to dallaspiccrew.com to sign up for a free practice interview. Well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who rotate through on a monthly basis to talk all about LinkedIn. A couple of them are career consultants. One's a recruiter, one's a founder, sales and marketing leader. The other one's a retained search consultant. They all talk about LinkedIn from a slightly different point of view. They have some really great information to share. They talk about what it is that hopefully you'll do, and hopefully you'll pick up 1 or 2 things today and take it with you in your job search. So today our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She's a career coach. She works with Lehigh Harrison candidates. She's going to talk about how to drive recruiters to your LinkedIn profile. So Ruth, thank you for being with us, and it's all yours.
All right. Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you for everything that you do, because this is valuable information on how we're going to get people moving in the correct position for a job search. Now, my computer just...
There we go.
Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right. It's going to work after all. There are 2 reasons why you want to be using LinkedIn and why you need to be on LinkedIn. The first one is if a recruiter is taking a look at your resume because you've applied for a job on a career board or on the career page of a company, they might want to know a little bit more about you. Resumes are normally up to 2 pages long and are geared toward one job at one company. But there's a lot of other information that you might not have included in the resume because it just didn't seem to be needed. Recruiters are going to go to your LinkedIn profile to find out more skills, more information about you. But the other reason you need to be on LinkedIn is because recruiters are more and more frequently using LinkedIn instead of posting a job on a job board. Over 1/3 of the jobs that are being offered these days from a company are when a recruiter goes to LinkedIn, types in a title, maybe a geographic location, a couple of skills, and they come up with a lot of possibilities on people who could fit that job. So when recruiters are looking for somebody quickly or somebody with a very specific set of skills, quite often they're going to go directly to LinkedIn, find them, offer them an interview, and move more quickly into the process of hiring. So in order to be found by a recruiter, you need to have a pretty good score on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile. So let's talk about that, because LinkedIn calculates a score for your profile every day. And that score is based on the completeness of your profile, how many parts of LinkedIn you have completed, and how big a set of information you have. So if you have an about section filled in, that gives you a certain number of points. But if your about section has 40 or more words, that gives you bonus points. They're also taking a look at the number of connections you may have, what you have in your interest area, if you're doing job searches, if you're networking with people, any activity that's on the home page. Everything that you do contributes to your score. And if you stop working on LinkedIn because you think you've got it where it needs to be, you're happy with it, you're not going to touch it for a couple of weeks, your score starts going down. LinkedIn rewards consistent behavior and activity on LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn will not tell you what your score is. You can't find that anyplace. Nor will LinkedIn tell you the value of any activity. But we can make some assumptions based on what we're seeing in the results that come through when we're doing job searches. And one of the things we can see is that if you write someone a recommendation, you're going to get a boost to your profile score, more so than if you just endorse someone for a skill that they have on their LinkedIn profile. So the more information and the more individual information you have on your LinkedIn, the higher your score is going to be. So when we're doing a search on LinkedIn Recruiter software, most of the time we're going to start out with a job title, in this case, a project manager, location, Greater Chicago area, and in this case, 2 skills, business strategy and analytics. What comes up, 42,798 possibilities. Now, LinkedIn does not do anything randomly. So there's a reason that this person is number 1, this person's number 2, this person's number 3, and it's because of the LinkedIn score that they have. These are people who are considered to have a complete set of information, are engaged on LinkedIn, and are probably stronger candidates as a result of that. Now, the recruiter has an area called the Spotlight feature. And the Spotlight feature is this area through here where the recruiter is able to identify certain characteristics outside of skills that might be of interest to them. In this case, the recruiter has the opportunity to say, I'm only interested in seeing people who are open to new opportunities. If you don't have that turned on, you're missing a lot of the recruiter's activity, because recruiters don't want to waste their time contacting people who have no interest in moving to a new job. So indicating that you're open to new opportunities using the LinkedIn feature for that is going to be important. If you're connected to that company, the recruiter is going to be more interested in you because you've expressed an interest in their company. If they're engaged in the company brand, if you're connected to people within the company so that you have a first-degree connection with someone, if you're likely to respond. Now, likely to respond is one of those areas, once again, that LinkedIn tracks a number for you, but you can't see it. If a recruiter sends you a message through LinkedIn and says, saw your LinkedIn profile, looks like you're a good fit for the job we're looking for, can we set up some time? Here's a link to the actual job posting. Let me know if you're interested and we'll pursue it. If you ignore those messages, then you're likely to respond goes down. If you respond to every one of them, you're going to have a very high likely to respond rate. And even if you have to say, I'm not interested in that job because I have no interest in this location or utilizing these skills, or I'm moving into a different industry. As long as you have some way of saying back to the recruiter what your feeling is for that job, you're going to be able to have a high score there. Ignorance and ignoring will start bringing that score down. And if you've applied for a job in the past for that company, that indicates to the recruiter that you believe in that company's products and probably the culture. So they're going to want to be interested in you because you're interested in them. Now notice here how little information LinkedIn gives the recruiter during these searches. And part of it is because most of the time you've got a lot of information that's available to you, but they're going to give the name, the current title and headline, and the past title, maybe the last 2 or 3 titles that the person has held. Not a lot of information. So one of the recommendations in order to get recruiters interested in you is by expanding your headline so that you're giving more information to the recruiter. These people are all using the LinkedIn default. Here's my title and here's my company. LinkedIn has recently expanded this area so that you've got 220 characters, and they want you to be able to put in a value. They want you to put in skills. They want you to put in more information so that the recruiter is able to make a determination on whether you're the right person or not without having to click on the profile for each one of these people. So the information that's coming up on the LinkedIn recruiter searches is going to be measured by how active you are on LinkedIn and how much you've been able to connect with the companies and the recruiters of the companies you're interested in. So here's the algorithm that LinkedIn is saying that they're using right now. First thing they're looking for is there mutual interest? Are you interested in my company? Are you interested in the type of role that we've got? And these are the ones that we just looked at. These are the spotlight features. Do you respond to people? Have you connected with employees in the company? Are you following me on LinkedIn? Are you open to work, and are you a past applicant? Secondarily, after that first set of requirements have been met, then LinkedIn is going to give people an order of the relevance to the job, the title, and the skills. So the first thing you need to do on LinkedIn is to start finding the companies that you want to work for and connecting with the people and with the company there. Being able to become more visible then is going to help out by putting more information in your headline. You just saw how little information most people keep in their headline, most of it being the default of what the company title is at the company name. Being able to give more information is going to allow the recruiter to make a determination on whether you're truly the better fit. And even if you're not a better fit, having at least some information out there that gives them an idea of what you feel your value is might make them more interested in you. And there are a couple ways that we can do that. If you're someone who is dealing on technical skills, like a full stack application developer, being able to put in information that is very technical on skills that you have that you think are strong for your next job is going to be important. Or if you have something that is going to be more of a soft skill requirement, helping the world become more customer-centric is a strategic statement and is not going to be talking about specific skills on how you do it, but it's going to give them the feeling that you have the strategy and the understanding of corporate measurement to be able to satisfy things. Other times you just talk about being able to increase productivity, how you increase your business, what your specialties are. You can make it a little bit more humorous. For an IT project manager, I can explain high tech to my mom, tell them something about communication skills, maybe a little bit more of an extrovert, but certainly somebody who would be worth looking at because this might be a good person in an organization. Same thing with business analyst, introvert living in a department of extroverts. Introvert, no doubt, is tied in with the business analytics side of it. Being around people that are extroverts and being able to accept that might be a good thing for a company to know about. So you've got 220 characters. You're going to put normally 2 to 3 different titles that you're interested in. Then you're going to put in your value statement. And your value statement is going to be based on the type of job you're looking for and who you think your audience is and what is going to appeal to the recruiter for that company or to a hiring manager in that company. The other thing to help increase your profile worth is going to take a skill assessment quiz. LinkedIn used to rely on the endorsements in the skill section to determine whether you had a strong value for your skills. But they found out that that wasn't necessarily accurate. A lot of times people simply had a great social network, asked people to endorse them for skills, but it didn't necessarily mean that they truly had a high level of that skill. So they introduced the skill assessment quiz, and they're going to be in 3 different categories. It could be a technical, like C++ or Python. It could be something in business, and it would be all of the Microsoft suite items as well as QuickBooks. Or it could be something more in the design area. Being able to determine whether you have skills that have a test associated with them, you can go out and do that now on your LinkedIn profile. Early results from LinkedIn show that if you have passed one of these skill quizzes, and that is a skill that is needed for the new job, you're 20% more likely to be hired. And 20% is a pretty good boost these days. So let's talk a little bit about the skill assessment itself. It's multiple choice, which is nice, 15 to 20 questions. Each person is going to have a different set of questions. So they've got a base of about 100 questions for each one of these areas, and they pull out 15 to 20 randomly that they feel hit the different areas of that particular application. Each question is timed. It's a timed test. You cannot leave and come back. So you have to finish the test all in one sitting. If you score 70% or better, you get a badge, and the badge looks like a clipboard with a check mark in it. And if you scroll over it, it'll say you passed the LinkedIn assessment. If you do not pass, nobody's going to see that. It's not held anywhere, but you can't retake the test for 3 months. The test itself is only valid for 12 months because the assumption is that each type of test is going to have new types of information that is going to be added into that. And they want to be able to test for latest knowledge as well as for the base knowledge of that application. So it'll be valid for 12 months. It'll expire after that, and you'll need to retake the test. Now, why is that important? Because when a recruiter is using the LinkedIn Recruiter software, you'll see that they can do a search for, in this case, a software engineer in the greater Denver area. And they've got 5 skills here: software engineering, JavaScript, Swift, Ruby on Rails, and Agile development. Well, 3 of these have tests associated with them. And LinkedIn has added an area that says, I want to look for people who have passed this test, so I know that they've got the strength in these areas to be successful in my job. So the people who came up highest on the search, in this case, this person has passed the JavaScript and the Ruby on Rails, has not passed the Swift test, has not taken it, as far as we know. So the more tests you take that are associated with the things that are important for this next job, the higher you're going to come up on these tests and on these results. We're also seeing that when recruiters are beginning a discussion with someone and they say, do you have a good background on JavaScript? And the person will say, yep, pretty good at JavaScript. And the recruiter will say, go out onto LinkedIn, take the test. If you pass the test, get back with me. So this is being used by recruiters as a separate step in the interview process in order to gauge the ability of somebody to truly do that role. The skills section is also going to be important because the more words you have that a recruiter is looking for, the higher you're going to be in that set of results. And certainly the technical skills need to be in there, but recruiters more and more are looking for a combination of technical and soft skills. And the soft skills are going to be the ones that show that you're able to work in the environment that that company has as their culture. So the top 5 soft skills these days are creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. You need to have these in your profile. If you don't have them in the skill set, you need to have them in your about section or your experience section, someplace where it's going to come up as a searchable term. And if you're looking for a job that is remote, then a lot of recruiters are looking for skills within your profile that indicate that you can manage yourself. So being able to put in words like active learning, resilience, stress tolerance, and self-motivation, which are generally the skills of a self-starter and a self-managed person, are going to be able to add to the credibility of you being able to work from home effectively. LinkedIn is also going to reward you by adding additional sections and being able to provide that information to the recruiters as new information for you. So let's go on to my LinkedIn profile because this part's a lot easier to talk about when you actually see a profile. Do we have any questions so far, Jeff?
Not that I see. Some people are putting their contact information so they can network with other people on the call. And if you'd like to do that, please go ahead and put your contact information in.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so we talked about the headline area. Putting in a couple different titles, in my case, career coach and consultant are used both in the industry. So I'm putting both there so they'll both come up. Being able to put in something about what specific side of coaching I do is an important part of allowing people to understand who I am and where I am. Making sure that you've got the open to work. Now, I didn't put the green frame around my picture for the hashtag open to work, but you can certainly do that by taking a look here. You can either have all LinkedIn members see it, which puts the green frame right there, or you can have it simply for the recruiters who are using the LinkedIn recruiter software. The problem with showing only recruiters using the LinkedIn recruiter software is that only half the recruiters on LinkedIn are using that software. The others are simply using the search feature in order to find people, and they'll get the search results in a little bit different way, but they can't see you if you don't have this hashtag open to work. Only the people who are using fairly expensive, what is it, $800 a month per license at this point, LinkedIn Recruiter. So if you are below a director level, sometimes this is going to really help the recruiters find you. If you're in the executive ranks, you normally don't have that hashtag open to work. You're going to be using your networking a little bit differently. But LinkedIn is trying to take the stigma out of being out of a job. And it's saying, if you're open to finding a new job, let people know about it because they'll be able to see that.
Ruth, there's a question in the chat. Can you elaborate on the value statements in the headline area?
That's where we were talking about putting in what skills you have or what value you think you're going to bring to a new company. So being able to say, able to increase market share through brand insight would be a way of adding a value statement there. What do you think you have in your skill set or what you've done in your experience that you want a new recruiter, a new company, a new hiring manager to know about you immediately? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and there's another question. How do we change the verbiage in talks about? I'm not really sure what that is.
And it talks about is dealing with creator mode.
Oh,
And I would not recommend creator mode if you are looking for a job. If you turn it on, then you're able to put in the things that you want to talk about, but these are still your skills and your value statements. The problem with being on creator mode is that you're no longer able to connect with people. So they can only follow you instead of connecting with you. And there's a distinction between those two. If they're following you, they'll be able to see your posts, but you won't be able to see theirs. So Bill Gates, you can follow, but you can't connect with. He doesn't want to see your post, but you probably want to see what he has to say out there. So I would keep the creator mode off because it allows you to get closer to people who may be of use to you in your job search.
okay. Renee asked, can you tell from looking at a recruiter's profile if they are subscribing to the LinkedIn recruiting package?
No, you can't. There's nothing on there because that goes through a company site and it's not visible to you. Interesting question, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to, I mean, I know there's a recruiting firm here in DFW. They've got 30 plus recruiters and none of them paid for the recruiting package. So that if you don't put that open to work banner on there, or you don't put hashtag ONO in your profile someplace, they're not going to find you because they won't know.
And being open to work is a quick step for a recruiter. Excellent point, Jeff. They want to be able to find people who they can bring into an organization quickly instead of people who have to finish off their project and wait for the replacement to be named and then train their replacement. They want somebody who can start in 2 weeks. The hashtag open to work indicates that you're willing to start within the next month normally.
Will you please repeat, Priscilla would like to know, will you please repeat on how to turn off the creator mode?
You're going to go into your resources area, and there's going to be an area for creator mode. If it's off right now, keep it off. If it's on, there'll be a button right here that says turn off. So you may have to hunt a little bit there, but you'll be able to turn that off in this area.
Thank you.
Now, Jeff brought up a good point. This hashtag ONO is a hashtag open to new opportunities. You can put that in your about section, but do not put it in your headline area because that distorts the search and you're less likely to be found. No hashtags in your headline area. Put them down in your about area. And normally your hashtags are going to be either at the end of a paragraph that summarizes that paragraph, or it's going to be in an area down at the bottom where you're taking a look, stringing them out. Now, one of the things that you can do to increase your ability to get the recruiter attention is to translate the title that your company gave you to something that might be an industry standard or might be something that is similar to, but not quite what you're doing. So at Lehigh Harrison, I am a career consultant, but it's also called a career coach. I'm putting a pipe, that straight up and down thing above the enter key, to separate these two to say, this is my official title, but it's also known as, and then put another title there. A lot of times your company is going to give you a title that doesn't quite make sense to the rest of the hiring world, to the rest of the industry. So being able to translate your title to something else is going to be a key aspect of letting recruiters know precisely who you are. The other thing you need to do is that if you have a title that is a broad title, you can put in parentheses what it is that you did more specifically. So in this case, the title was Senior Manager of Training and Development, but most of the work that I was doing was designed to take all of our training material and put it into an e-learning format so it could be used on a virtual basis. So if I wanted a job as an instructional designer or an e-learning developer, I am well qualified for those roles. And it doesn't show up here. It might come across here, but that's not a title area in your experience. put the titles up here that indicate what roles you took. And if you've got a broad type of title, like a program manager or a project manager, that can mean a lot of different things. In parentheses, if you need to be able to indicate what exactly you did in titles, put those in there. So you're allowed in your experience area, add as many titles as you want in order to make it perfectly clear what it was you did in your previous roles. Your skills area, you can take the skill quiz at any time, and when you click on that, it's going to go through things that are recommended, things that are mostly industry knowledge, things that are tools and technologies, so you can sort through what it is that they're looking for. But generally, if you have a tools and technology part, you should be able to find a quiz for each one of your tools and technologies. Having those as a pass the skill quiz is going to showcase in a lot of detail that you're capable of learning, that you've got a broad understanding of that subject, and you're able to step right into a new job. So let's take a look at how we're doing the rest of the networking, which is going to be finding the companies that are going to be most important.
Ruth, can you briefly just talk about contact information? We haven't talked about that, about how make it easy for a recruiter to reach out to you, about where to put your contact information.
Okay, contact info shows up right here. And if you click on that, it'll give you the opportunity to find a phone number and the email. But only first degree connections can see this information. If you're a second or a third degree, you can only see this information about the profile, and you're already on my profile, so that really doesn't give you an awful lot of information. If you want recruiters to know how to contact you, you're going to need to put that in the body of your profile. Normally, the best way to put it is in the About section. Some people put it as the first thing in the About section. I tend to like it more at the bottom, where you're saying, here's all the information about me, here's why I feel I can fit into the roles, and now contact me, and then you give a personal email address. Recruiters can always contact you by messaging you where it shows up on your message tab, but they would much prefer to contact you through an honest to goodness email address, because you're going to see that more frequently.
Thank you. DB put a comment in the chat window. LinkedIn Recruiter is very pricey, and recruiting firms may pay for the databases elsewhere to avoid paying that huge fee. However, Forbes did a third-party study that provided stats that 94% of all recruiters vet the applicant's resume against their LinkedIn profile. Very, very important knowledge that, you know, if I'm going to do an interview with you, I'm going to look you up on LinkedIn, and it better match the resume that I have in front of me.
And it's going to give more information. Generally, the About section is equivalent to the summary section of your resume, the top portion of your resume where you're talking about why you're qualified for the role that you're applying for and giving skills. But this is the largest area of LinkedIn. It's 2,600 characters deep. You really need to be able to add more information there about who you are, what you do, what your management style is, maybe some stories about results. So being able to add more information here is going to give the recruiter a better feel for who you are. Also adding in the additional information that deals with what your licenses are, what your certifications are, what your volunteer work looks like. Talking about what courses you've taken. You should add all the courses that you took on a yearly basis that came from your compliance team, because it's got some key words through here, and it indicates to your new company that you took all of these types of classes every year, and you understand that you're going to take them again next year and the year after for their company. So it's an acknowledgement of the need and the worthiness of that. So being able to add that information You can find it in this Add Profile section. You should have the core information, but it's also got an area for some recommended areas, like adding courses, and the additional information about other things that might be of interest to a company that might not have been on a resume. So you've got the opportunity to put twice as much information on LinkedIn as you have on your resume, and recruiters and hiring managers love that because now they have a better overview of who you are. So let's talk about networking into a company. If somebody in the chat can give me the name of a company they're looking for. Slack. The drop-down is always going to give you a bunch of different options. Normally the top one is going to be the company one, and you can always double check and make sure that the logo is the one that you're expecting to see. So here's Slack. You can follow the company, but let's go and view the page. Because here you've got a follow button too. Every company you're targeting, you need to follow, because that's going to drop it into your interest area at the bottom of your LinkedIn profile page. And it's going to be able to send information to your home page so that you know more about the company and its activities. Here you've got some information, some tabs. If you go to jobs, you can tell Slack that you're interested in jobs. So by creating a job alert, it'll tell them what kind of job you're interested in. And let's say project manager, and then put your location, and then create a job alert. Anytime a recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn for the job title you put in here that matches the skills that you have in your profile, LinkedIn is going to push them back a list of people to say, here are all the people who have created a job alert, are interested in you as a company for this particular type of job. Here are their profile URLs. Take a look. And recruiters will generally take a shortcut whenever possible. If LinkedIn says that these 10 people are all interested in their company or that job and have the skills needed for it, they're going to go there fast. So create a job alert. You're only allowed to have 20 job alerts altogether, and some of them you want to save for your jobs section. But if it's a company that you feel has several jobs open that you would be interested in, create at least one job alert for each one. Then you can go into the people section. And here it's going to tell you that there are 4,196 employees currently working at Slack who have LinkedIn profiles. It'll give you two columns initially, where they live and where they studied. Sometimes if there are a lot of employees, you might need to scroll down until you find the location that is most associated with yours. But notice that they have previous and next here. If you click next, you get two different columns, what they do and what they study. What they do tells you what department they work in. So if you want to immediately narrow down into the people who are in the program and project management group, now you're only looking at 155. Let's see if we can do better than that by clicking next again, because the next two columns they give you are what they're skilled at, but how you're connected. You've probably been on LinkedIn for a while, and people move around in companies quite frequently. It could be that you've got a first-degree connection at this company and you didn't know it. Being able to click on first degree, it'll tell you who it is that you're connected to. And then you can send them a note. I've applied for this job, interested in who the recruiter or the hiring manager is. Keep in touch. We'd love to hear from you. If it's only second degree, and here I've got 28 second degree connections, and when I click on that, I can come down and I can see all 28 of them. Now, since they're second degree connections, I can connect to them by saying, I see we have connections in common in our LinkedIn networks. We'd love to connect with you. I'm considering Slack as a possible career move. How do you like it there? let's connect. And once you connect and you're a first degree connection, then you can exchange notes with that person. Now you can start saying, I applied for this job at Slack. Do you know who the hiring manager is? Do you know who the recruiter is? I've got an interview scheduled. Do you know what kind of questions would be coming up? So being a first degree connection to somebody at a company is huge if you utilize it. Now, if you don't have first or second degree connections, then you're going to have to, let me clear this out, then you're going to have to look a little bit differently. Maybe the first person you want to look for is a recruiter. And in this case, there are 168 employees who are either currently a recruiter or who have been a recruiter in the past. Now, it looks like some of these definitely are recruiters at Slack. Some of them might be people who have moved into other areas. But if you're in the technical area, you're going to find somebody who's got technical here. If you're somebody who is looking for a more senior position, a senior executive recruiter would be the one you want to look for. Never use the white connect buttons on this page. LinkedIn would send the standard note that says, I'd like to be part of your network. You want to go to the person's profile page and find the blue connect button. A blue connect button will always allow you to personalize the message. You have 300 characters, so you can't put an awful lot in, but you can say, I've applied for this job title because of my skills in blank, blank, blank. Would love to discuss. Let's connect. And recruiters' jobs are always to connect people, to find people, to collect people. So you've got a fairly good chance of finding someone who might be able to respond to you. And in general, the people who have the most in their profile, so they've got a picture, a headshot, as well as a background, those are the ones who are probably more likely to be responding to you. If, however, and let's get rid of the recruiter, you're looking for a project manager, here you've got a lot of project managers. Some of them don't have much information about themselves. Don't bother connecting to people who don't have any information. Stick with the people who look as if they're a little bit more active and are going to be a little bit more willing. So this person's a third degree connection. I can only message them unless I go to their profile page. There's no blue connect button or white connect button. So you have to click the more, and in more, you'll find the connect button. And that will always allow you to personalize a message. Now, if you're on a person's profile and they have a white connect button here, you can use that white connect button, but generally you're going to be looking for a blue one if you're coming off of a page that gives you a summary of people like this does. Okay.
Got a couple questions here for you on Facebook. They ask, what if you want to pick your own descriptive words, or should you always use what the LinkedIn words that LinkedIn picks for you?
Generally, you use the LinkedIn words because those are the ones that the recruiter would be using in their search. So you can use descriptive adjectives or adverbs, but for job titles, always use the LinkedIn titles because those are the precise words that are being used by the recruiters. Same way with skills. If you're on the skills page, accept one of the skills that LinkedIn has because the recruiter is going to be using that and it's an exact match at that point.
Okay, and there's a second question. What if you know someone who recently left a job at a company that you were interviewing at, should you connect with them and find out what went wrong?
Yes, but you're going to do that in multiple stages. The first is to get them to connect. And you can say, considering a career move into this company, I see you were there recently, would like to discuss the company or the culture or the business model, and ask for a connection, making it somewhat aware that you're interested in company information. If the person wants to talk to you about that, they'll connect back and you can get an interesting conversation. It might be a little bit one-sided though.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take another look at a way to connect with people. Somebody type in a school or university that they attended. University of Phoenix. There's the school. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to view the page. And here we're not interested in jobs, but we are interested in alumni. So if we click on alumni, it's going to tell us that the University of Phoenix has 812,843 people who attended that school in the last 122 years and who have a LinkedIn profile. You can use this area by saying, here's a company I'm interested in. How many people, let me open this up a bit. How many people work at Slack that attended the University of Phoenix? Well, 4 of them. These people through here used to work at Slack, but have now moved on to another company. So this is telling you that these people also have Slack experience, but aren't current employees. Let's take a look at the 4 who are. And interesting group of folks. You can always connect with somebody who is an alumni by sending them a connect request and saying, I see you also went to the University of Phoenix. I enjoyed my time there. I'm interested in moving to Slack, and I see that you're in that in the engineering department. How do you like it there? Let's connect. But most people need a reason to connect. So let's talk about how we did that again. We went to the university or the school here in the search engine. We came onto the company page, looked at the alumni section, put in the company name that we're targeting, and finding the people who are currently employed by Slack and who went to the same school that we did. And whenever you've got a compelling reason to connect with someone through their request, you're probably going to accept it if it came from somebody who went to the same school that you did. So being able to use these university and college pages to connect with people, find them, is a positive way to find folks. Does that make sense?
It's a great way to expand your connections. And you can also just find other alumni who live in the same city you do and just reach out to those other alumni.
Certainly. So here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we've got 27,000 people.
Look at see where they work at. And you can go down and see if you, that second category, do you want to work at Verizon, Bank of America, State Farm? There's a great way to get yourself in on one of those companies.
And normally people within a college are going to support each other. That's one of the more powerful ways to network. And if you needed to go a little bit deeper, you can use these next buttons also. So of the people who are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who went to the same school that you did, there are 1,280 who are in engineering departments. There's 640 in consulting. Might want to see what they're doing. So being able to use these people to find a little bit more about how can my alumni help out. powerful way of networking with people. Schools are an underused tool on LinkedIn. If your spouse went to a school, you can certainly network through that person's school. My husband went to University of Phoenix, enjoyed his time there. I see that you're at Slack, considering that as a career move. How do you like working there? Let's connect. But having an introductory statement, and especially if you're paying tuition for someone to go to school, if your kids are going to school, yeah, add those schools to your profile so that you can utilize them in your networking effort. When you're on your profile, your education is going to be here, and LinkedIn will automatically drop it into your interest area under schools. But put in all the schools that your family went to. Even if you're just following a football team at a school, go ahead and put those in also. It doesn't say that you went to that school. It merely means I like people who went to this school because I have somebody who went there and I'm comfortable with it.
Maybe your money went to that school.
Yes. Yeah. And with tuition these days, that gives you the opportunity to brag about the school and connect to people there. Okay, what questions?
Let's see here. I don't see any other. Let's see here. I've been on a profile and the connect button is not blue. What setting causes that to occur? So if you're actually on somebody's profile and you don't have that blue connect button.
Okay, let me go to.
I know we're connected, so I know that won't show up on us. Pick somebody you're not connected.
Someone who's not a first degree connection. Let's take a look at people who are project managers. All right, here's a second degree connection.
Yeah,
This will be a blue connect button. I think I have to have a third degree. Okay, this one doesn't have a connect button at all. So I'd have to go through the more and connect through this one. You should either see a connect button or have to go through the more feature, but it doesn't matter as much on a profile page. Whatever connect button you see on the profile page will allow you to connect with a person.
So what's your rule of thumb when you get invitations? Do you, if they send a generic invitation, you connect with them, or you always want to have that personal note?
Quite often not. I like having a reason to connect with someone. I like making sure that they're either in the same industry or if I went to a convention, would I have exchanged a business card with them? If so, I'd connect with them. But this generic one, no, a lot of times I'll just ignore those.
Yeah.
How about you, Jeff?
If you don't send me a personal note, we will not be connecting. So just all you have to do is tell me, I saw you here today on LinkedIn Tuesday. I saw you on Interviewing Wednesdays. I don't like your red shirt. Pick a different color. Just tell me something and I'll connect with you, but you got to tell me something. David says, how do you feel about the share profile in a message button?
Share profile in a message button.
It was just by what you were talking about just a second ago about the connect button was down below, but up at the top of that section, there is a button with a right turn arrow on it.
You want to click on the more button there, Ruth? And let's see. Well, no, it won't be on your profile. Let's see here. Pick somebody else.
See that share profile in a message? Isn't that like an introduction?
It's more of an introduction. It's more of a way of making it easier for them to see your profile. But it's really easy when you're connecting for the person to come back and take a look at your profile. I always look at a profile before I accept a connection. So I don't see that it's needed these days. And it might be a step that confuses people because it's not used very often.
Got it.
Anybody else have any questions before we wrap up?
I had one earlier up, you go up to a little bit. She stated about not putting hashtags right below our headline section.
Okay, don't put it in the headline section.
Because
So
they automatically appear there below.
that you'll have the hashtags only if you are in creator mode.
Okay,
So the hashtags will be in the creator mode, but in the text here, so if you come here and edit your headline area, if you're in your headline area, don't put a hashtag in this area.
you said it lowered your possibilities, or can you remember?
It distorts the search.
Oh,
So when the recruiter is doing a search for career coach, they won't be able to see mine because the hashtag does not allow it to read the full statement accurately.
So yeah, you can put hashtags in your job positions and in your about section. Just don't put them in your headline.
got
Right.
it. All right.
And you want that headline to probably have 2 or 3 jobs that you would be applying to. And you don't want to put product management, put product manager, because you want the title to be what the title would be on a job description, so that when the recruiter types that in, looking for a project manager, it matches there.
It's very good.
Priscilla asked, if I blocked an individual, how do I remove the block?
I don't think you can. I think once you block someone, it's considered done.
Yeah, you may be able, if you go to security and settings, you may be able to find something about that there, but yeah. And I'm sure if you Google it, just type into Google, removing LinkedIn block, and see what happens. I'm sure you can come up with it. Let's see here. Is there a way to search persons open to work for those following a certain company?
Don't know of any. It's an interesting thought, though. Jeff, have you heard anything on that?
The only way, I mean, if somebody, if you wanted to search for people who are open to work, I think if you typed in the hashtag ONO, hashtag ONO in the search, you can do a people thing. So let's see, you do a search there. And then you should be able to click on, well.
And it takes you to the hashtag ONO hashtag, but it doesn't have a people.
What about the 3 little dots? I don't know. No, okay.
Yeah, good thought.
Yep, doesn't look like you can.
Nope.
So, all right, well, we're coming up on the top of the hour. Ruth, thank you very much. Great information. If you want to connect with Ruth, you now know how to do so. Just reach out to Ruth on her LinkedIn profile. This is her old picture. She changes her picture every couple months. So this is back in springtime or during the summer when she had her profile looking like this. But if you want to send her a connect button, if you want to connect with her, please just send her a note. Tell her you saw her here today at LinkedIn Tuesdays. You appreciate what she presented to you, and that hopefully you've learned something, and you're going to just share that way. Let's see here. Yeah, go ahead.
So thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. Next week, our speaker is Kurt Vondermatter. He's a retained search executive. He pays LinkedIn that $10,000, $12,000 a year for the full-blown recruiting package. He will show us what it looks like from the back end. So if you have any questions, you'll be able to, join him next week. He'll talk about the different kind of recruiters that are out there. Just a really interesting presentation. And it's nice that, he's going to show us from the back. He's going to show us from the back end what he looks at when he's trying to find a candidate. Okay, I need everybody to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Very, very, very important. Like I said, I only connect with people who send me a personal note. Every day, I'm just ignoring people who don't. So please send that personal note. Just as a reminder, when you see that white connect button, don't click on it. Click on the person's face. And when you click on the person's face, you'll then see the blue connect button. The blue connect button will always allow you to send a personal note. Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us tomorrow, the practice interview team. You'll be able to watch an actual practice interview. We've got a candidate lined up. So if you want to see the practice interview team do their work, you'll be able to watch it tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We will only be on Zoom. It will not be recorded to watch after the event. So if you want to watch it, you need to join us tomorrow. It'll be about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half, or 1 to 2:30 Central Time. But it'll be very interesting. Please, you can watch it, and hopefully you'll want to be interviewed next week. This Thursday being I've got the wrong session here. It's the 4th Thursday of the month, so we'll be talking about networking. Jennifer Sarah will be with us to talk about effective networking, so please join us for that. This Friday morning at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, Kurt Vondermatter, who's our speaker next Tuesday, will also be talking about the employment view from a retained search consultant. He's going to share what he sees in his crystal ball, where he sees the economy's at, what he thinks may happen this fall. And I'm sure we'll be able to open up some questions. So it should be a really interesting presentation because he makes his living by placing people like you into companies. So please join us for that presentation. If you'd like to join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to do one or both. You do not have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join the Career DFW group. We just crossed over 14,000 members, so it's a great way to expand your connections. So please join. This session hasn't been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. If you follow us on Facebook, every time we go live, your phone will give you a little buzz. Every time, if you subscribe to our Career USA YouTube channel, every time we post a new video, which this video will be posted up there in the next couple hours. Every time the video gets posted, you'll get an email or something saying that there's a new video that's just gone up and what the topic is. On the Career USA YouTube channel, it looks something like this. If you click on playlist, which is where that green arrow is, you'll then see the 7 different playlists that I've put together. All those playlists, every video I upload goes into a different playlist. Just click underneath the subject you want, where it says view full playlist, and then up will come a list of the dates and topics and speakers, and you can then go and watch any of the videos that are out there. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, just send an email to Career USA, +subscribe@groups.io. You'll never be spammed, but what you will get on a daily basis is the Zoom link of the day, the title of the day, and the topic of the day. And the Zoom link's the important thing because you just click on the link and you can join us, grab your lunch, grab your breakfast on Friday and join us for our meetings. So please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 14 years has just been here to help you land your next great opportunity. Please consider making a donation so we can continue to provide the services that we do. So thank you very much for joining us today. Ruth, once again, thank you. I know she's already off the line because she's got to go back to work to help another client of hers. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody. And hopefully we will see you tomorrow and you can watch an actual practice interview.